All right, super excited tonight. I've got a special guest on with me. Tonight we're doing Optimal Living 365, how to move yourself forward on your goals and your desires. Now there's some really creative names that people have come up for different ways to move your goals forward. I've heard people call them goal planning sheets. I've heard SMART goals. It's an acronym, and we'll talk about that later. I've heard people talk about something called structural dynamics, and very specifically, there's a chart called structural tension chart, and that's a very fancy name that most people don't understand. I like also using one called GPA, and that's goals, plans, actions. And so, what's your goals and desires? What are the plans you're going to do to achieve them? And then the actions you're going to take. All right, so let's just make it real simple. How to achieve your goals and move yourself forward very effectively, okay? And I've got Carrie McKendall from Nevada on with me. Hey, Carrie, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Alex. How are you doing?
I'm doing super well. Yeah, I'm glad to have you. Thank you for joining me this evening. And we're going to talk today about some of the goals that you've been working on achieving. And I think it's really neat. You just got through telling me how you went back and grabbed a chart called a structural tension chart. And you were in a challenge called the Stop Challenge Choose, right? And you
Right.
used the structural tension chart from that challenge to actually break apart your goals. So just real quick, like, can you, before we share your screen, what motivated you, inspired you to say, hey, I'm going to do this? What was the trigger?
Well, I believe that there's three very, right now for me, there's three very important areas of my life that I need to get control of, and I need to plan and see where I'm going. And I need to take certain steps to get there. So I decided to make three charts, one on business, one on health, and one on family. And that way I can, write everything down. I've got it right there. I can look at it. I have dates for goals, and I can see where I am.
Wow. Well, there's something that I know inspired you, and you used a word that I think a lot of people relate to, and that is I needed to get control in these areas. I needed to see progress. And what I found through my experience is that people do things they really want to do. And so when the want grows big enough, then the need, it seems like a need, you know? So what
Yes.
was your want? What is it that you want that I guess is driving you to have better control and better experience in those three areas?
Well, obviously I want to hit my goals. So that's a big one.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, I think I have to be organized, and
Hmm.
I have to physically see what I'm doing and what I'm not doing.
Yeah.
And also that way I can talk to my business coach and health coach and get some support on these areas as well. So
Mhm.
that's you.
That's great. And when you want to achieve the goals, there's actually a layer below that because the goals are resting upon another desire. So you want to achieve these goals because what does it do for your life? Why are these goals relevant? Why are they worth going through the muck and the mire for?
Well, because obviously health, I mean, I need to get healthy. I want to get healthy because that's going to change my life. It already has changed my life
Hmm.
as far as I've come so far, but it's going to change my life tremendously when I get to my goal
Yeah.
and all the way to my goal. And with my business, that's going to change my life as well. Because it'll make me more able to do the things that I want to do and do some volunteer work and do
Hmm.
some other things that I want to do and help people
Yeah.
to get healthy. Because when you walk around the grocery store and take a look and open your eyes and really notice what's going on, we're in trouble as a country,
Yeah.
probably as a world. I
Mm.
mean, but we're in trouble. I mean, there's just,
Mhm.
so many people need help, and I love that. I love to help. So I
Absolutely.
want to grow my business, and then my house, our family. I want to get our house done. So um, keeping on track, just knowing where we're going.
Yeah, and you brought out those three areas. You brought out your healthy finances, you brought out your healthy body, and you also brought out a specific area of having your home, the place you're going to live, be in order in those areas. And as we took the achieving your goals as your need and desire, and then we took basically wanting to have those particular areas, how do you think that's going to make you feel when you have that healthy body that you believe in? How do you think it's going to make you feel? How do you think you'll feel when you achieve those things? What will that do for you?
I'll feel fantastic. Self-confidence goes up, which helps the business.
Mm-hmm.
Getting healthy helps keep up with my husband building the house. And just emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
in all three areas, emotionally, it's like weights lifted off of your shoulders when you finally get to a point where everything's running smoothly. I mean, there's always going to be ups and downs, but if you're in control of that, and you can control those ups and downs a lot better when you're not worrying about a bunch of things like being overweight and business
Mm-hmm.
not going and finances not doing well and not having a home to live in.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're going to see some clarity of purpose when we look at your actual chart. So, if you don't mind, let's let the cat out of the bag and share your screen. And
Okay.
real quickly, I'd like to just see that you have these three different charts. So, this first chart you've got here is what's this one? Your health, right?
First one is the health chart. Yes.
Okay, great. And we talked about that. And you reviewed these with me already. And one of the things that I see on this is that you talked here about you're succeeding on your journey to optimal health. You feel much healthier and have more energy than you've had in years. I'm looking better, feeling better, and I have the stamina almost to keep up with my husband finally, right?
Right.
And then what I would encourage on this particular chart to really make this like have the just the touch, the smell, the taste that it needs to really bring your reality of this into play would be a couple more specifics. Okay.
Okay.
The first specific I would have you put on here is to be specific. Like, what would you don't have to tell us on the camera, but what would your weight be? What would you be wearing? What would you be doing? What would represent in your mind that you've actually arrived, other than just the feeling, which I think the feeling is amazing. And I if you hadn't had that on there, I would say, hey, put the feelings of the emotions. And so when you say succeeding, you're talking about I feel phenomenal because I am able to wear and I am out doing this and I am on the ground with my grandkids and you see what I mean?
Yes.
A
You
little more
got it.
descriptive of the outcome so that we can see what doing life looks, feels, weighs, feel, and all that like, okay?
Okay. Great.
Great, and that right there can wake up the emotional center of the brain and then in the beginning it might not really feel like a reality, but over time of seeing this every day, it will start to become a reality in your mind, and your actions will line up. All right,
Okay.
we're going to use a different chart for some other areas. So that was on the desired outcome. So each of these charts. Let's go to your house one because we're going to end on your business one.
Okay. Let me find a house. Whoops. Okay. Well, my house one's here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have misplaced my house.
Okay.
I'll bring it up. I've got it here.
Family. Oh, there
There
we
it
go. Excellent.
is.
Now this one, I definitely felt the emotions in this one. Can you read this one right here? I think this was a.
I will. And just so you know, when I go to sleep every night, I sleep in my bed in my house
Ah,
that I don't have. I do.
all right.
I go to sleep and I visualize that we're in this house, and that's where I sleep every night. So I mean, I've walked through this house a zillion times, and
All right.
it's not even, we haven't even done the foundation.
Okay,
Uh,
see right there. I want to stop you. If you'll do that for your healthy body,
I
right? I
see
want
it.
you to,
Yes.
yes, I want you to see it in your healthy business. I want you to walk through your healthy business. I want you to walk through your healthy body. So I want you to read this one with the emotions because I know you have them. When I read this the first time, I was like, wow, she really connected with this house.
Yeah, I did. Okay, so the desired outcome on the house is I'm very happily living in my dream home that my hubby and I built. We can see the mountains in three directions and the lights of the valley in the evening when the sun goes down. Our home is perfect for us and we enjoy it, especially the fireplace, the outdoor barbecue, and the pool. We have plenty of room for the kids and grandkids when they come to visit, and it's a very warm and comfortable place. And then I put in there that it will take longer than 12 weeks and I'll need a new chart.
Yep. Well, that's great. And all charts don't have to be only 12 weeks. We have what's called long frame, big frame thinking, medium frame thinking, and short term, short frame
Right.
thinking. Almost like
I couldn't change the wording up here that says 12 weeks.
got it. So yeah. Yeah, a new template, right? But
There you go.
I think it's neat that you have this right here, and I could feel this one. I wanted to be at this house with you. And that was so great. So I think the real focus here in this conversation is when you have the desired outcome, understand there's a part of your brain that can't really distinguish the difference between thoughts and reality. And it's very clear to me that you've meditated on this one. You've held this thought for a long time. You've been through this thought multiple times. And this one is really becoming a reality. And you guys are working now towards that. And how far away are you from the foundation pouring?
We just got the plans back for the first review, first part of this week. So we're going to review the plans. We're doing some traveling. So we're going to review the plans while we're traveling and then submit them back to the architect for a few little changes, probably the week after 4th of July, week after Independence Day.
Yeah. And I think I see from your chart on the screen, it looks like your goal would be you'd like to have that done by 8/2/14, right?
Yes.
All right. And that's great. And that's a goal. And some people are afraid to put dates because, like, what if I don't hit it? Well, I'll tell you what, you miss 100% of the shots you never take. So, and we do things in our, that we have closure towards. And so if you set a goal, it's going to make sure that you go there and, we're going to get that foundation poured by this date. And if you miss it by a few days, I'll
change it a little bit.
Change it a little bit. That's great. Well, thank you for sharing that. Well, let's go to your business one and let's take a look at the whole chart on this one.
Okay.
And I'm going to help you with a few refinements here. So this here I'm going to use to basically teach what we call structural dynamics a little bit, or if you will, setting goals, planning properly, and taking the actions. Now with this, the way this is framed out, we know whose chart this is because your name is on it. We know the date you're starting action on this. And we know when you'd like to see the particulars on this chart actualized in reality in your life. Now, you can do different charts. You can do really long-term charts that are a year out. You can do 5 years out. What we found is that that's great to have those, but you always want to drill your charts back to about a 90-day, and in some cases, 30-day, and then daily actions. In this particular chart, it looks like it's about a 90-day chart. Is that right?
12 weeks, yes.
12 weeks? Okay. And so in this case, what we've got is we've got you setting what your desired outcome is within this time frame. And if you could just explicitly bring that out and explain that to us.
Okay, so do you want me to read the desired outcome on this one? Okay, in 12 weeks, that's by September 11th, I am a COPE certified health coach and executive director with Take Shape for Life on my way to the top. I'm not stopping at executive director. I'm helping people all across America learn the habits of health and how to live a better lifestyle for longevity. I'm sponsoring new coaches and new clients every week, and I'm a successful business leader with Take Shape for Life.
All right, that's wonderful. Okay, so now we've got something that you have a desired outcome on. And before I give you some of the other areas, let's talk about the 3 main components of a structural tension chart. The first component that's probably the most important is the compass. Where are we headed to? What direction is our true north? And in this case, it's the certified coach, executive director, and then moving on. You're on your way, moving up and around, and you are helping people get going in their health and their life. Then we need the other part of coordinates, and that is, where are you starting from? Because if we're going to give you mapped out actions, we got to know what street corner are you standing on now?
And that's down here.
All right, so current reality on this one, what does it say?
It says, I'm a health coach and client of Take Shape for Life, working on my certification and working to inspire others to get on the journey to optimal health. I'm sharing my experience, my story with friends, family, and people I come in contact with, but I need to establish a plan to do a better job of getting the word out in order to help more people and become more successful.
All right, so that's your current reality, and you're explaining that. And then the third component is what the actual, go straight on this street, turn left at the corner of, Broadway, and then I want you to take a right when you hit 4th Street, and that's these actions. And you have this action column, and we can see clearly that you've put some things, watch leadership videos, listen to certain calls, register for convention, specific times for calls where you're going to support people, having that mapped out, and so on and so forth. But what I love here is the actual spark plug to all of this is the fact that you have dates and times for resolution. And those get a chance to show us how did you do. Because if we say that by the 19th, which is today, right?
Right.
We can actually go back and see, hey, did that happen or did this one happen? And that accountability, we can then say, hey, let's take a look at why not. Either one, did this not align with your goals? Or two, did other priorities get in the way? Right? And how do we become a better manager of priorities and a better focuser on the goal? Right? And
yes. And
I like how you've got these check boxes over here. Does that mean it's been accomplished?
But these have been accomplished. This one here, go to local businesses with information, that did not get accomplished. And the reason it didn't get accomplished is because the air conditioner on our RV went out, and we spent the day installing a new air conditioning system so we can take our trip. So.
And that, you know what? And that's life, right? And such is.
That's life.
Yep.
That's life.
So you're able to now kind of change the date, put it on, and then you move it forward. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're real time, and you're saying, you know what, I'm going to do that one there. And I love how you've got the ones that are ongoing. They're listed as ongoing, and it's very clear. All right. Now, another key component to a structural tension chart is inspecting what you expect, because your expectations are that I'm going to achieve these goals. Your expectations are I'm going to do these actions, and these actions, as much as they are actions, they're smaller goals, because every time you do an action, you've achieved one of your action goals, right?
Right.
And these are choices. All actions are choices. And you've decided to do these things because they're going to move you closer to your goal. And if you see this arrow in the middle of this chart, that's the tension moving you up and forward. And that tension only happens when you choose to take action. And it's almost like you've got a bow and arrow, and you've pulled the string back, and what you've got is the bow itself being, that firing mechanism, but the target being your desired outcome is only going to launch that arrow if you let it go. And that is take those actions. You got to let those actions go, right? And you've been doing that. Now, what I've seen and what I've read and what I've personally experienced in my life is that fulfillment comes when someone is working towards a worthy ideal in their life, a goal or some type of purpose that they believe is worthy of their effort. And there's a sense of fulfillment when you are working actively towards the things you desire. And there's a greater sense of fulfillment when you actually start seeing the milestones and those markers checked off. So a very tangible example is that you've decided to take your family on a trip to Hawaii, okay? And all of a sudden, you guys are buying the plane tickets. You can kind of get excited about it, right?
Right.
And you haven't actually gone to Hawaii yet. It's the fulfillment. You fulfilled a requirement of that. You're not there. And then all of a sudden, you guys are packing the night before, right? And it's kind of like, oh, we're going to Hawaii. It's hard to get to sleep on time. You're up till 1:30, 2 o'clock at night, but it's okay because we're going to Hawaii, right? And I find that your willingness, your energy, your willingness to stay up late, your willingness to get up early for worthy ideals is pretty amazing. And so that's the importance and power of having these goals written out for you. And before I go too far and explain the rest of it, what do you think about that I just shared?
No, I totally agree with you, because I think you lose track if you don't have it written down. It's like things get in the way, and you lose track of where you really want to go and the things that you really need to do. I mean, you all of a sudden you're 3 weeks down the road and you haven't done a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I think you're absolutely right on that. I think you have to have dates. You've got to have things that are specific. And you're right about when you get something done, you feel great. You're like, you're okay. I've done this. Now what's next? So
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, that's it. And I tell you, can you imagine we buy the plane tickets, we pack the night before, but then we just, for whatever reason, choose not to get into the car to drive to the airport. You know,
Right.
it, and that's what happens when people start with a goal and they say it, and all of a sudden it's they get so far and then they just give up on the action steps. And you'd go, that's ludicrous. No, who would buy plane tickets, pack the night before, and with nothing other than just general mindset resistance, say, you know what, I'm just not going to go because I don't want to take the effort of driving to the airport, right?
Right.
You must not have really believed the plane to the Hawaii trip was going to be worthy of your time and your effort, or you must not have believed the plane was going to get there, or you must, something is resistance in the mind. And a lot of times, the reason people don't take that next action step in their goal is because they haven't made it real enough. They haven't walked through the house enough times
Right.
in their mind. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yes. Makes total sense.
And so the reason why you're not going to build, and this isn't, I'm talking foolishly here, but the reason why you're not going to build your Take Shape for Life business, or you're not going to achieve your healthy body is because that person doesn't meditate enough and make it a real thing. They don't focus on that, and they stop doing whatever action step has a little more resistance than the other one. Some of the action steps are the easier ones, then they hit some resistance. Maybe you're sharing with somebody and you had 3 shares in a row where they weren't really receptive to their vision for health. And so you were only prepared to climb a 6-foot wall, and this one happened to be a 9-foot wall. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean?
Yeah. Makes sense.
That's right. Now, I'll tell you what, let's go back to your home, and we're going to use that in this analogy.
Okay.
Let's just say that you're going to get ready to pour the foundation, and the permit people tell you there's something you forgot to put together before you can pour that foundation, and they say it's going to take another week. Are you going to quit, scrap the house, and just, forget it and live in the trailer the rest of your life?
Yeah. There's no way.
Exactly. Even if it takes an extra week, Carrie, to achieve it?
Yeah. I don't care.
Exactly.
Doesn't
What if
matter
it's
how
a
long
month?
it
Are
takes.
you just going to,
Yeah.
you see
Yeah.
what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
that's how you want to think going into this, is that I have these dates and these goals, but you know what? The purpose is so focused and desires there that we are going to take the cab to the airport. We're going to wait to the funky security. We're going to take our clothes halfway off. We're going to get patted down. Even if we miss our flight because someone has to go through security 2 times, we're going to take the next flight. You know what I mean?
Well, I think what you're saying too, Alex, is life has to be flexible.
Hmm.
You've got to be flexible in order for things to work, because it's not absolute, and the business is not absolute, and the house is, like you said, the house is not absolute. Something could come up. So as long as you've got some flexibility in there, I mean, you make the goals, but you don't get so discouraged when one doesn't work out that you just stop. You've got to be flexible, revamp, and keep on going,
All right.
because
So
that's the
now
only way you lose is when you quit.
that's it. That is absolutely it. And I want to ask you a question to see where your mind is at. What is it? How do I word this so it comes out the way? What is it that gives people that desire and ability to be more flexible than the times when they're not? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't. I don't know, because some people are very flexible and some people just are not flexible at all. Maybe life experiences. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, I think that there's one or two things typically, and there's probably a third and a fourth. And whoever's watching this video is probably thinking like, "What about this and this?" Okay, so then you guys can name those too, right? But I'd say one most certainly is life experiences.
Mhm.
Maybe you've been rejected, or you've not succeeded on something or followed through in the past, or you've been shot down right before you were going to get something. Maybe you were promised a certain allowance and then dad never ended up paying it to you. So, it scarred you for life. Maybe you were supposed to get that promotion and then so and so got it. So why will I even try anymore? Right? And you let a circumstance dictate your decisions and choices moving forward, versus saying, you know what, no matter what. And think about this. A lot of times on that second one that I was thinking about, aside from what you brought up as far as life circumstances and just not having all their stars in alignment, if you will, is not losing sight of the real vision, the real purpose. I'm just going to challenge you and say Hawaii's not that big of a deal. You know, Hawaii's just a thing of sand with a bunch of palm trees and some blue water. That's pretty cool. But I'm going to say that people go to Hawaii because of the way they're going to feel and the experience they're going to have, and what that blue water does for them, and what that downtime does for them, and what the people that they're going to be hanging out with is going to do for them. It's the feeling, right? It's the connectedness. And so when you look at this, I believe a lot of times people stop becoming flexible when they lose sight of purpose. They lose sight of being connected to why they breathe. They lose sight to what's worth struggling for. And a little resistance comes up that was greater than they had decided in their mind they could handle because of past circumstances, and life, things. And then that's it. Run out of gas.
Well, it reminds me of, and I don't know if I shared this with you, but I wrote something a while back about going on diets. I mean, for years, I would go on a diet, and I deprived myself of all the wonderful things, like fat and potato chips and all the stuff that I thought was wonderful. And for 2 weeks, and I'd lose a half a pound. And I would say to myself, well, I'm depriving myself. I'm going through all this. What's the point? I'm going to quit. Well, who was I hurting? I wasn't hurting anybody but myself, because I'm the one that didn't lose the weight. I'm the one that wasn't getting healthy. So I think sometimes people lose sight of the fact that sometimes when they quit on something that's important, they're quitting on themselves or on their family. They need to, don't quit. Just change things. Just go around that tree and keep going.
I think you said something really key, because I know you are somebody who could speak to this, Carrie. You did all that stuff before. You lost a half a pound. You lost sight of your vision. You quit because you were focused on the circumstances around you, in the experience you're having. And the question you could have asked yourself, like you said, is what else could I do differently? What could I change? There's got to be something that I could do and become a scientist, even if I got to figure out how to make this work. Well, clearly you did that for long enough. And, just out of curiosity, when you've, not that everybody could expect these kind of results, but when you've really focused and your body's really been given enough, how much have you lost in a week during some of your high weeks now?
Oh, I think when I first started, 3 pounds, 4 pounds in a week.
Yeah.
So I mean, but it's different. It's totally different. I mean, it's not that you don't focus on what you're not getting to eat or what you're not able to have. The focus changes. The focus is on, where am I going? I'm going towards health. So I'm not depriving myself of all those things. What I was doing was depriving myself of health by eating all those things.
That's right. There you go. And that's on purpose. You've changed your purpose and your focus. Your focus is no longer losing weight and I'm not going to eat these things. My focus is I'm going towards health, and I'm going to figure out how to do this. I'm going to align myself with the right information, the right people, and the right actions.
Absolutely.
And that's it. And that's how you get to Hawaii, even if there's a delayed flight. That's how you get a home finished, even if the permit doesn't come forward. And that's how you're going to build this business, even if it takes an extra week or two to get an action done. Just like you changed this one date, it didn't happen on that date, and you changed it, right?
Yes.
All right. So if I want to wrap up here. Go back to your business chart and put that on the front side for us here. And when you look at this business chart, I'm going to give you a couple things that are going to help accelerate the vision on this, and then the reality of this coming into play is going to have a much higher chance. One of the areas I would encourage you when you're doing your desired outcome in a 90-day period is be very specific again. Just like we talked about with your health, I'd be very specific on how many clients do you have? How much income are you generating specifically through this business? How many health coaches have you either started, or how many health coaches do you have in alignment or identified as potential people that you're working with? Okay. And and then the last thing is, just like you did with that home, I'd like you to describe the environment of people. Like you were describing the home. It's a great place for the grandkids to, play, and the mountains
Right.
that we can see. In this case, I would have you describe, I'm hanging out with people that I really enjoy. They're supportive. They also challenge me. They help me be a better person. We are, and so be a little bit descriptive of the outcomes, and the people and the experiences that you're having.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Add some positive drama. Okay.
Okay. Positive drama. That'll
Positive
do.
drama. Yep, exactly. Dramatize it a little bit in that way. And then when it comes to your action steps, if we take a look here, I'm going to just move my little camera here so I can see it. So you've got continue with your support group. And is this the support group that you're talking about? Is it a different one? Which, when you say continuous support group on there, what
Yeah,
is that?
well, this is the one I'm talking about.
Okay, great. And you say talk to a minimum of 3 people a day. And
Yes.
there's another chart you could use in that case. It's called the My Success Tracker. And that sometimes each of these little action steps will have a secondary chart that you use. And that secondary chart, this is a My Success Tracker form. Can you stop sharing real quick?
Sure.
All right,
Okay.
if you look on my screen here, this My Success Tracker chart, it has so many actions, and there's this one box where it says, see where it says My Activity Tracker?
Yes.
And then you could go ahead and put and start checking off the different shares that you shared with that day. And the point is that whether somebody has this particular chart or not, and they can always, I can show you where you can get it and
I have
download
it.
it. Oh, great, perfect,
I got it in the meeting with Craig.
excellent. It
Or
allows.
you sent it to me.
All right, perfect. Oh, that's right. That's right. I did. It allows you to see that those things are happening versus just generally, did I do it? I don't know. I can't remember. Very tangible, and we can move that forward. The last thing I wanted to share is, can you go back and put that up on the screen one last time?
Sure can.
And while we're putting that up there, Keith has joined us, and he made a comment in the chat box, which I think is great. He said, "Make the deal feel real," and when
I like that.
you're visualizing real, thank you for that. And then it becomes a reality, and you will move towards it quicker. So what you've got here is you've got your dates. You've got these set specific times for calls. So that one right there, does your calendar or your particular schedule for times for calls rotate? Or do you have a set time in a week that you have a goal of achieving certain calls for yourself?
Which one is that now? Oh, set specific time for calls?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have, I need to have a certain time, I think, probably.
Yeah, and so that and that doesn't have to always be like the hard, fast. It can only be during that time, but it gives you a place structure-wise that if you have to move it or you choose to move it, you can move it, but it's in your calendar.
It's a guideline.
It's a guideline, and then it'll pop up on that calendar, and you go, all right, it's call time, because the brain that sees a blank spot on the schedule or the agenda will go usually towards the path of least resistance. It'll do the busy work. It'll gravitate towards what requires the least amount of moving you forward. It'll go towards the routine of what's gotten you where you're at now. So having very, very clear vision as far as times and dates is key. All right. You've got listen to support calls, and you've got those leadership calls and watch a leadership video. And I would have you put maybe some specific in there about speak with my business coach on how I can implement that particular information. So,
okay.
So if you're going to listen to a support call or a leadership call, especially a leadership call or a webinar, always say, how is this relevant to me? How could I put this into action? How can I make this a part of who I am?
Okay.
Okay, and so that right there, Dr. Anderson did a really good job of explaining to me, is integration is taking the individual parts and making them whole.
Okay.
And that information that you just listened to or watched may be separate from you because it might just be a good idea or some good knowledge, but it's not a part of your action habit plan yet, right? So we want to think, how could I integrate this into who I am? Is it relevant? First off, is it relevant? And what would I have to do? And sometimes that's repetition. Okay. So do you have any questions for me in regard to the stuff we've covered, such as clarity in your vision and being very specific with dates and scheduling and times?
No, I think I have it. I think I get where you're going, and I'm going to go back and revise these.
All right. The last thing I wanted to say then is when you go to your current reality, you would do the same thing there. If you go down to the bottom, you would be really real about how many clients do I have now? Currently, I have X amount of clients. Currently, I have,
Zero.
yeah, you're just getting started. That's right. I have 0 clients.
Yeah.
Currently, I've shared the program. If there's any feeling of frustration or if there's any sense of whatever, you wanted to give you a little bit descriptive of currently I'm feeling, and then you name what the feeling is so that you can have a snapshot of that true, and then you have this contrast. But what you're going to do now is you're not going to dwell necessarily on the negative. You're going to focus your energy truly over to the positive side, and that's where you're going to meditate your energy. You know,
Sure.
and this will allow you to have the right kind of push and pull. And in closing on this particular topic, if you could stop the screen share. I'm going to explain briefly why most people usually fall short of following through on their goals. There's this initial period of pain that motivates most people to do something. Some initial problem, some initial turmoil, lost a job, overweight, something gets hurt, frustrated with a relationship, emotions are high, whatever it is. And they oftentimes say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that's the motivation of the pain. So they start looking for what to do. How do I solve this? I don't have enough. Kids are about ready to go to college. I need more money, right? And so a lot of times that gets people started, but that's not sustainable. Because as soon as you start having any level of progress and you start seeing yourself move forward, a lot of times the pain starts to go away. And when that pain goes away, because that was your motivation goes away, right? And what we see is that people who will let the vision, the pleasure, be their focus and be their purpose and their power, they have a much bigger chance of sustaining that. And so there's this really, really detrimental place. Remember I said people get started, but a lot of people, most in fact, do not keep going. And
Right.
it's called the slack tide. And if you know how tides work, right?
Yeah.
All right. So when life's going against you, you say, I'm going to swim. I'm going to get going. I'm going to lose this weight. I'm going to build this business. I'm going to build this relationship. I'm going to go for it. And then what happens is they start moving forward and that tide gets slack, right? And they go, oh, I'm going to take a break. I don't have to, swim anymore. And that's a danger zone unless you focus on the purpose, and that purpose will pull you and it will give you the power that you need. And that's where we start really, really moving forward. And it's that moving towards your goal mindset that will drive you. And I think all of us have pleasure or pain pleasure motivators, but at the reality of the day, it's only going to be those true desires that allow us to feel fulfilled and successful. Solving a problem never feels that fulfilling. You might go, haha, I overcame that problem, versus, wow, I built the home of my dreams and I'm living in it. When are you going to quit that? When are you going to stop wanting to be at your healthy weight and having great health? So what are your closing thoughts, Carrie, after spending this time on your goals and structural tension charts and planning and actions?
Well, I'm glad that I did them, and I'm glad that I shared them with you, because I've gotten a lot of great information on how to make them, like he said, more real. Okay, make them feel real,
Yeah.
and I think it's going to be very beneficial. So
Wonderful.
I appreciate the time and the the support and direction.
All right. Well, at this point, I think you've got definitely a little more tools to refine your charts. I think that your initial desire to put those out there. Now you've got three different areas of your life. Scheduling that into your day is going to be crucial. Having those times where you can actually focus on that. I was taught a while back, and when I say taught, I don't mean just talked at. I mean really learned this, that you give it that space, and if you say I'm going to work on this for an hour, work on it for an hour with a monomaniacal focus. Just go for it. When you're done with that hour, you should be sweating almost. I knocked this out. And basically you want to just ditch the resistance, and the resistance is going to be your smartphone popping up, Facebook things, and your email coming in. Turn all that stuff off. Shut down all the other windows on a computer screen. Turn off the phone ringer. Get yourself into a focused space when you're going to knock down those areas, especially those areas that you don't come so natural to you. The ones that your brain is going to be looking for an out, right? It's looking for, oh, you know what? I think I have a little grumble in my tummy. I think I'm going to go eat something right now, or, oh, I got to go check the mail, or, I got to run down to the store and I forgot I got to pick that thing up for Marcy. That's resistance is going to pop up, but you say, this is the hour. I said, I'm going to do this, this, and this, have that plan ready to go, and you'll see yourself moving forward. So, well,
Yeah, sounds good.
all right, Carrie. Well, I'm glad we had this time to connect, and I definitely look forward to talking with you soon. I think our next meeting is Thursday next week. We had a lot of people who were on vacations or traveling or coming at the beginning or whatnot, but I hope you all get a lot from listening to this. And Carrie, thank you so much for being just open and transparent with us.
No, it was great. I
All right.
appreciate, like I said, I appreciate the support. Thanks so much.
All right. You have a good night. Bye. Thanks for joining us too, Keith.